So I'm here today in Longford with Louis Herterieh's Artists and Butchers. There's a huge history behind his business, so let's go find out more.
Louis, how are you? How you doing, Adrian? Good to see you. Very welcome to Herterieh. Very welcome to Longford. Thanks very much.
On tonight's show, I am visiting Louis Herterieh Craft Butchers Longford. And later I'll be doing a live demonstration from the Longford Arms Hotel. So Louis, we're in your absolute fantastic arts and butcher shop here in Longford. Tell us a little bit about the history of your shop, of how it developed through the years here in Longford town itself.
Yeah, well, the shop was opened in 1956 by my mother and father, Louis and Teresa Herterieh. My father came to Longford, fell in love with my mother, who was from Herterieh in Roscommon in the next county. They set up their shop as a traditional pork butcher shop, so we would have only sold pork, some poultry, and my father would be manufacturing sausages, pies, sausage rolls, stuff like that. It started in 1956, and the business has developed through the years. It was an instant success in Longford because the products that my father and mother brought to Longford would not have been readily available elsewhere in the town. So things like cooked shanks and cooked pig's heads, a great selection of sausages, black and white puddings, all made in the town, was a fantastic new product line for Longford. And the tastes were appreciated, and the following became very big over a period of time.
You told me that when your mother was pregnant with you, that literally 3 days later you were in the pram beside her in the butcher shop.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, myself and my two brothers and sister, she would have worked behind the counter. My father, it was in his workshop behind. He manufactured all the products, and my mother sold them up front. So yes, when she was expecting, she would be right there to the last minute, and then straight back to work. We'd be in the pram. We'd be in the pram behind the counter, and that was my. Wow. That's where I started. So I've been here from the very beginning.
That's amazing. So you grew up with the business.
Absolutely.
It's what you know, basically. Then.
Absolutely. We lived upstairs, and we had a lovely insular little life, you know, living on the street. The streets then were much busier because every shop had a family living overheads with a lot of kids, a lot of activity. And it was lovely, you know. I always knew my mother and father were. My mother was behind the counter, my father was in his workshop manufacturing products. Okay. One of my best memories was, I remember, you know, when we were as a kid, you know, you would go into him and he'd be making pork pies, and he'd have pastry left over, and he'd send you into the supermarket to get a bottle of jam, a jar of jam, and he'd bring it out, and he'd fill a pie with jam for you, and he'd cut out your initials with pastry and put them on top and stick them into the oven and cook them, and then give it to you when it was ready to bring in for your tea, and maybe you'd have some friends up from the back lane. So it was lovely, yeah.
So Louis, you've expanded your business hugely here with your lovely cafe Sambo's, and as well you're also supporting hugely in local produce, local suppliers, and everything here in Longford that's local itself. So tell me a bit about how you expanded. You told me that it was your wife's idea, that you told me that she deserves credit for that.
Yes, for the Sambo's end, yeah.
The Sambo's end.
So we would have been traditionally a pork butchers, and the shop was much smaller, so we wouldn't have had as much space as we have today to display a product. But around 1999, we realised that we had to get away from the traditional pork butchers shop and start carrying a larger range of products like beef, lamb, more poultry, turkey, and a larger range of delicatessen products. So we extended the shop here, built workshops, catering kitchens, etc. And as part of that expansion then, we decided to introduce a cafe. My wife, previous to our marriage, had worked in America for years, and she brought back to Ireland that sandwich concept actually in about 1992, where we started the sandwich bar business. So we're one of the first sandwich bars in Ireland, and you know, using baps and paninis and ciabattas and wraps and stuff. They were nearly unheard of before then.
You told me that people travelled nearly all around Ireland just to have your scones.
That's right, yeah. Our scones are fairly famous, but you see, it's the way I make them myself, because I'm an artisan food producer, and it's all in the hands. I hand make the scones. I don't use machines. And the other thing, a little secret I use too, is I use duck eggs.
Oh, you shouldn't be giving away your tips.
Well, I know, but sure, I have to tell the people something. And folding the pastry, so they're very light and a nice colour and very flavoursome and very popular. Yeah, one of our best sellers.
Very nice. And you also told me about you're also supplying here in Longford with your production kitchen upstairs, meals on wheels here in Longford.
Yeah, in Longford for the last 30, 40 years, started by Sister Calasanctus, a fantastic, energetic nun. She noticed that there was a need in the marketplace for older people who weren't able to maybe cater for themselves, weren't able to cook, didn't have facilities perhaps, and she started this facility where she would bring out meals to people, literally in a van every single day. And we were supplying the raw materials like the raw joints and everything to the kitchens in the hospital for many, many years for that. But with cutbacks in the HSE or whatever, they're not allowed to use the kitchens anymore. So we, for the last number of years, have been producing the chilled, ready-to-go meal for them. It's a very high nutritional value, handmade, high quality, using all local produce.
How many meals are you doing in a week?
It varies between 800 and 1,000 meals a week.
Wow, that is a lot of meals.
Yeah. So we deliver fresh every morning, and they're a chilled product. Years ago they used a frozen product which wasn't of a high standard and nutritionally wasn't as good. So they're very, very happy with the product we produced, and nutritionists are very happy that the older people are getting everything they need in their daily diet.
Louis gave me a lovely bit of pork belly, so it's back to my kitchen in Bombay, County Cavan to serve up some tasty pork belly on a bed of balsamic lentils. So folks, I have a beautiful piece of pork belly here, which I got from Louis Herterieh. He sent me home with it. It's like rare breed pork is what she spoke about as well. Again, you can ask your local craft butcher to do this for you. What you're going to do is you're going to score the top. So you can use a Stanley knife, or you can use your own sharp butchery knife if you have one at home. Again, just run your knife along it into the crevices there of the skin, and that's going to create lovely crispy crackling for you. What we're going to do then as well is we're going to place our pork up here and we're going to season it. So make sure you season the skin well, and then flip it over and season the other side as well. So you really need to season pork belly a lot, because it is quite bland without the flavouring of the salt in there. So rub it into the salt on the board, get it all in there, and pat it in there as well. What we're going to do is we're going to make a little trivet to go with it so it doesn't stick to the bottom of the tray. And what we do is we get our onion and we cut it into three. Don't even peel it. Cut your onion into three. You're going to place that along your tray there. And again, your garlic, a full bulb of garlic, slice that in half. And we're going to place that on there as well. The next thing we're going to add to our tray is some beautiful fresh thyme. So again, the freshness of the thyme is beautiful in there. It really gives the pork belly a lovely aroma as such. In you go there with that, and then we have a glass of wine as well. So white wine was in there, a good white wine for cooking with. That goes in there. Get your pork belly on top. And then we'll just get the rest of this salt here, and don't be afraid to sprinkle that all over as well. So we'll drizzle a little bit of olive oil on there, or rapeseed oil, whichever you have in your cupboard. What I'd say to you is the reason why we're putting oil on the top is for crispiness, and again to stop tin foil from sticking to the top of the belly. On you go there. So all I have to do is put a bit of tin foil in that, whack that in the oven, and leave it in there, cook away. Wrap the tray, make sure no steam or anything gets out of that. Wrap in and around. And then into the oven. Nice, slow, low temperature in there, so about 160, 150 degrees, and that is going to be beautiful. So in this saucepan here, I have my Herterieh lentils, okay? What I've done is added a little touch of salted water to them. But firstly, I recommend soaking your lentils just in a little bit of cold water before you do any cooking. It basically rehydrates them. So for instance, if you put yourself in a dry cupboard for a couple of months, you would need to rehydrate yourself with a bit of water. So it's the same thing for the lentils. Make sure you rehydrate them. Bit of salted water, and they only take 7 minutes to boil up and cook through. And then we're going to add a beautiful bit of flavour into them just when we're serving up our pork belly. So the joys of cooking on telly. Here's one I have prepared earlier, and what I've done is I've cooked it off for about 2 hours in the oven. I've flattened it, well I've cut it in half actually first, and I've flattened it on a tray here. I've placed another one on top and I've wrapped it loads in cling film. Really what I've done is I've flattened it down, chilled it down so it holds an absolute perfect shape. So we're just going to take that out. There we go, and wait till you see, you'll have perfect pieces of pork belly in there. You'll also see, you'll have the fat that was on the pork belly will stay on the tray, so you won't be eating that there. So the little bits of fat on there will stay on the tray, and you won't be eating any of that. Okay, so we're just going to remove that. So we'll just use one piece. Just square it up on your board there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to crisp that up nicely on a frying pan. So on you go with your frying pan. Heat a bit of oil in there. And then you're going to start this from cold so it renders down and crisps up lovely. Add a little pinch of salt to it as well, and then let that crisp up. In the meantime, get your lentils, strain them. So when you're done straining, put your lentils back on there. Your pork belly's crisping up. We're going to add a nice bit of balsamic vinegar to our lentils. In there you go. I'm going to add a nice bit of honey there as well. So in you go with your honey, your balsamic, so there's a nice bit of sweet and sour going on in there. Give them a good stir, add a little pinch of pepper to them as well. There you have it. So they're going to heat through, your belly's crisping up lovely on here, and then we'll be good to serve up. So we'll just clean up a little bit and get our plate. And my God, I am excited about tasting this. I hope you are too. Just have a little peek. If you can see it's not fully crisp, just leave it back on there for another few minutes. But what you're looking for is that lovely golden colour crust on the outside to add a lovely crispiness to your pork. Something that goes down so well, especially if you're cooking for guests at home. The key to this dish is really being well prepared ahead of schedule. So once your pork is fully heated through, we're ready to serve it up. Get your lentils just onto a nice platter there. There we go, and I like serving food on wooden boards. It actually really does give it a sort of modern twist to food, and it looks really nice and presentable as well. So if you are doing dinner parties, I do recommend using boards. Get your piece of pork belly, which has gone through the long, slow process of cooking. On there you go. And just the crispiness of that is absolutely beautiful. Finish that off just to garnish with a nice little bit of basil on top. And that is a meal that will go down so well in any of your homes. So there you have it, folks. That's your beautiful pork belly carved from your local butcher, Lois Herterieh in Loughnane.
In this series, we're going to be taking a look at fantastic sauces and marinades your local craft butcher has to offer from the Scobie and Junior range, transforming your meat dishes into a taste sensation.
So we've some beautiful meatballs here in front of us. Derek, tell us a little bit about the mix.
Yep, this is a firecracker mix. Again, it's the exact same mix that we've used for the burgers. Solely they're dual purpose, so we can be used as a burger and a meatball mix. So it's still got that fiery, chili, spicy kick to it. Again, gluten-free. It's the exact same mix as the burgers.
So what's your gluten-free mix made of?
Essentially, the biggest part of it is the gluten-free rusk, which is essentially vegetable flake.
The vegetable flake, yeah. And you can flavour them then with any of your marinades or sauces as well?
You can, yeah. It's all then down to individual tastes. You see, that's a very hot product, so you can actually have a cooler sauce or a even hotter sauce. Some people like it really fiery hot. So as I say, we've got a full Scobie and Junior, I've got a full array of sauces and marinades that would help complement the meatball.
Beautiful. So what types of sauces does Scobie and Junior stock themselves?
Well, one of the sauces we have that would be ideal for it is our Italian tomato and herb sauce.
Beautiful, beautiful. So that's actually one of my favourites. Actually, it's beautiful. Again, you have more here as well that can go well with it. So you have Italian and herb.
Yep, we have the chili and tomato and the jerry can, which you've already tried.
And then you have the Raging Rio there as well, which can go well with it.
Yep. We also have barbecue, peri peri, as I say, a full array of sauces and marinades.
Oh, so you have a great selection there.
We do, yes.
For butchers and craft butchers.
We do. Yeah.
It's time to take a short break. Coming up in part 2, I find out more about Louis Herterieh Craft Butchers and prepare my award-winning curry. An absolute wonderful selection of salads, artisan foods here, coleslaws. You know, the delicatessen really is amazing, the standard you have
well,
here.
thank you. We make a very large range of products, and we start from raw materials, start from scratch every time. We buy absolutely as many raw materials as we can possibly locally. We buy all our beef and lamb in Rawls Abattoir in Ballinallee. We buy all our pork from Green Pasture Meats in Drumlish. We buy as many vegetables as possible locally, and from those raw materials then we produce this wide range of products. We produce every day fresh curry, shepherd's pie, lasagnas, many different salads, coleslaws, potato salads, pasta salads, curried rice salads.
I've been told that this place does be chock-a-blocked at lunchtime.
Yeah, we look after young people. I've been the father of 6 children myself, most of them teenagers. They have great appetites. So we believe in giving the local students a very good, high quality, substantial roll plus a drink for a very reasonable price. And our thought process in that is not only is it business, and we're very grateful for the business, but also to create a contact, a connection with young people from an early age, that they will come into our butcher shop, and as kids happen to grow up fairly quickly, that they'll come back as young adults and as adults, and they won't be shy to cross our threshold and purchase their steaks or their meat or their poultry products from us. So we treat young people with great respect, and we develop a rapport with them through the years. When I go to a city, the first place I head for is the local food market, and it's always intrigued me about food markets where you have raw meat, you can have vegetables, you can have pastries, you can have preserves and wines, etc. And I wanted to create that atmosphere, and cafe, and I wanted to create that atmosphere here in this shop. So if you look at the way the shop is laid out and designed, it's designed like multiple stalls, like a big food market, and that includes our cafe at the rear there, where people regularly come in here, and they might come in for lunch, might come in for morning coffee, meet their friends, have a freshly made scone, nice bean to cup coffee, and then on their way out then they'll stop and they'll buy something from the deli for the lunch, or some meat from the meat counter. They'll engage with the customers. They can buy vegetables. They can buy everything here. Nice fresh breads, and that's the atmosphere that I wanted to create.
Oh no, it looks absolutely superb. As I don't know, the guys, like, when you get a shot anyway, it's absolutely superb in here. Like, it's just the decor and everything, down to the branding of your shop, the whole works. It's absolutely fantastic. Like.
Yeah, well, part of the design was that we have internal shop fronts. So, for example, between the main food store and the cafe, it has another shop front, which mimics the front of the shop. So it creates a nice atmosphere, as I said, of a streetscape or a food market scape.
So tonight we've a live show. You've told me you've plugged it a huge amount. You've put a lot of work into this show tonight. It's to do with St. Christopher's here in Longford. So tell us a little bit about St. Christopher's and what's going on tonight here in Longford.
Yeah, well, we're delighted to partner with yourself, Adrian, and Longford is excited to finally meet you. The cookery demonstration that we're running here tonight in the Longford Arms Hotel, the proceeds of which are going to a very, very good local charity, St. Christopher's Services. St. Christopher's was set up many, many years ago by a lovely lady called Sylvia Dawson, a good friend of my own and my father's, and to look after people with intellectual needs. And they've been massively successful through the years and have expanded and grown. But like many organisations, with cutbacks in HSE funding, etc., over the last few years, their services are under a lot of pressure, and St. Christopher's are under particular pressure. I think in many cases they might be a victim of their own success, because the people are living fantastic lives, and they're out in the community in houses and a lot of respite, etc., and that's very, very expensive to run and to maintain, and we're hoping to raise funds for them tonight.
Brilliant, that's fantastic. I've seen an advertisement that said that I'm going to cook in my birthday suit. Whose idea was that?
Well, that was my idea, because to be honest with you, we put out the posters and everybody said, is that 13-year-old really, can he really cook? And I said, he may look 13, but he's just a slight little bit older. He's actually 17. No, I joke. But no, we've plugged it tremendously through the local paper. The Longford Leader has been very good in writing an article. Shannonside Radio have been very good. We've plugged it on Facebook, Twitter, through emails, through texting, through word of mouth, and we have about 150 posters in the county as well. So we're hoping for a good crowd tonight.
So being a certified craft butcher, you're all about supporting local charities, which we are doing tonight. So tell me a little bit about how you support your local charities in the area, Louis.
Yeah, well, Adrian, we're a local craft butcher. We're also a local family. We've been here for almost 60 years in Longford, and throughout that 60 years, we've always helped any organisation or anybody who's ever asked for help. We do our best in the community. We're very much community based. So through the years, we've helped so many football clubs and different organisations with fundraising, and all of the staff get behind that, and there's a great sense of community spirit. We are very conscious of our corporate and social responsibility, and like, for example, Tidy Towns here in Longford is very, very strong. Longford is one of the cleanest towns in Ireland, and we support Longford Tidy Towns. As a small local business, our customers support us, we support our customers in the broader community, which we're happy to do. And it amazes me, though, through the years, as some of the larger supermarket retailers move into town, that they have taken a lot of business from the smaller shops. But I wonder what the reception would be when people go to collect maybe some money for a set of jerseys for a local under 10 team or something like that, what reception they will get.
Being a craft butcher, I've been told from different people from different corners of the world that Irish meat produce is some of the best in the world, if not the best. Can you tell me why that is?
Well, there's absolutely no doubt about it. Irish meat is one of the most flavoursome meats in the world, and I believe the reason is because it's grass-fed, it's done on small scale, and there's huge history and experience in the rearing of animals, and it's only quality animals are chosen to be in the food chain.
Curry is something that's made every week in our house here at home, and it's one of my favourite recipes to make ever. This is my award-winning curry. I won Best Curry in Ireland in 2013, and it's so simple to make. So we're going to kick off firstly by butterflying our chicken fillets here. So what you're doing is you're basically flattening it out, which really tenderizes the meat as well for you. So flatten out your chicken. You can get your craft butcher to do this for you as well. So there you go. It's just literally the slit of a knife. Okay. And then we're going to give that a quick seasoning of salt. So on you go there with your salt. And we have a good hot pan on here. Add in our oil. And then we're going to place that seasoned side down. There you go. So once you hear that sizzle on the pan, you're away. Add on your salt on the other side. And then I have a pot of boiling salted water on here at the moment, which I'm going to add my rice to. The rice is normally quite bland and boring, so we're going to add a little touch of cardamom to it. Okay, so cardamom pods are absolutely beautiful. So you've got in any of your craft butcher shops, all you're going to do is pierce them. So we're going to put 3 of them into it. And they will add a lovely sort of fragrance to the rice. Add a lovely flavour in there, sort of orangey sort of flavour. In the meantime, lose that, we're going to make our sauce for our curry. So it's nice, quick and simple. Get your oil in your saucepan first. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to slice up our onion. So take either end off, just like that, and remove the outside of it. So we're removing the outside layer and the inside layer as well, because it's quite tough and chewy and it's not overly enjoyable to eat. So you can put that into your stock, that's no problem, so save that. Just slice up your onion and watch your fingers while you're doing it. And then in that goes into our saucepan. Okay, give that a little swirl around, and we're going to get our spoon in there to really saute that down. The next thing you're going to add to your curry is some beautiful mild curry powder. I'm not a big fan of hot curries, but if you like hot curries yourself, you can use hot curry powder. You can also add chilies into this as well, which works in wonderfully. But for those of you that don't like hot ones, use mild curry powder. What I've done then is I've added in my curry powder. I'm going to add in my tomato puree next. So in that goes there. And for any of the measurements you need, don't forget to go onto my blog for the recipes. Give that a good mix around, and if only you could smell this in here. It smells absolutely amazing with the lovely flavour of the curry powder sweating down along with the lovely tomato puree in there. You cannot go wrong with this recipe. Here we go. So for 30 seconds you're cooking out the spice to reduce the lumps in your sauce. Once that's done, you're going to add in your coconut milk. So a full tin of coconut milk. In that goes there, and your sauce is going to thicken naturally. Give that a good stir in, and then we're going to adjust the seasoning with a touch of salt. Then turn over your chicken. Okay? And that's exactly what you're looking for, is that beautiful golden colour on there. You cannot go wrong with that golden colour. The more colour you get on your food, the better flavour there is. Just make sure you don't burn it. So in your sauce then, we're going to add in a little touch of ginger. So with ginger, don't take off the skin, leave the skin on, because all the nutrients and the goodness are in the skin. So just grate that in. A good thumb-sized piece of ginger in there. Then we're going to add in some mango chutney into it. So that adds a lovely sort of sweetness. And then again, just a little touch of sweet chili sauce in. So in that goes, and you can see now that your sauce has really come together. It's got a beautiful shine to it. It's thickened naturally, and that is absolutely beautiful. Your chicken is cooked. You're going to take that off, and then you're going to turn off your pan. So with your chicken, when you've taken it off, you let it rest for about 2 minutes. Then slice through. Now it is still a little bit pink in the centre, but don't be afraid of that. That's exactly what you want, because once it hits the sauce, it'll fully cook through, it'll stay moist, it'll keep all the flavour in there. So slice it up into nice bits. And we just place that into our sauce. And then all we have to do then is just let that simmer down and let our rice cook away, and then we're good to go. So the water is evaporated from the rice and it's looking good and fluffy here. All you have to do then is pick out the little cardamom pods. They've served their purpose. They're not edible. They've just really put in some beautiful flavour into your rice. Just going to lose this pan here, and then we're good to serve up. So your beautiful fluffy rice on one side of your plate. And then we're just going to serve that up then with the beautiful curry. Don't be afraid to get lots of the sauce on there as well. Just finish it off then with a little bit of chopped flat leaf parsley over top, and there you have it. That's my beautiful award-winning curry with cardamom rice. Like, that is to die for. How could you go wrong with that?
Coming up in part 3, I take to the Longford Arms Hotel for a live demo and catch up with the locals. Welcome back to part 3 with me, Chef Adrian, the Craft Butcher Chef. One of the things I enjoy doing for Associated Craft Butchers of Ireland is getting out and meeting the people. Tonight I'm in the Longford Arms Hotel, where Louis Herterieh has organised a cook-up funds night for a local charity, St Christopher's.
What we're going to do is we're going to make up our mix for our spring rolls. So basically what we do is we get our knife and we dice up the chicken. So nice cube dice in there. Okay, just like that. And then this is so good in packed lunches, in at home, you know, it can be done the night before, stored away in the fridge, and eaten the next day as well, reheated. It also works wonderfully. You can cook them in the oven as well. They do take a little bit longer, but that's no problem at all as well. So your diced chicken goes in there. We're going to add in a red onion. Now with red onion, when you're cooking it, what I'd say to you is take out the outer layer of the skin, okay? Because that's quite tough and chewy. It's not enjoyable to eat. Okay, there we go. And we're going to run our knife then along that there. Just dice it up nice and small. Okay. And then we're going to add that in there. So any questions, guys, at all throughout this, don't be afraid to ask, okay? And I know it's actually one of these things that I love making, like, for, I suppose, around Christmas time as well. You know, if you're doing a lovely starter, it works wonderfully. So we've 1 yellow pepper. We're only going to use 1/4 of that. Okay, we're going to dice that in there as well. Okay, so watch your fingers again while you're doing it, okay? So be careful. And then just dice that up nice and small in there. So this is basically your mix you're going to add in. You can make this with phyllo pastry, which is no problem. What I recommend is a little tip here, if you're using phyllo pastry, is to cover that with a damp cloth, okay? So that works wonderfully. A damp cloth over there, it'll keep it nice and moist for you. It won't dry out, and so it's easier to work with as well. So your yellow pepper goes in there. We're going to add in our lovely red pepper, okay? And then we're going to dice that up as well. Okay, so in you go there with your red pepper. And then nice and quick, easy as that, and then in you go there. So we're going to add in some ginger. Now, what I recommend with ginger is when you're grating ginger, leave the skin on. All the nutrients and all the goodness are in the skin of ginger, okay? So leave the skin on. If it's a bit dirty, give it a little wash, and you're going to grate that in there as well. Okay, so in that goes. There we go. And then what we're going to do then is we're going to lose them. Okay. And then we're going to make up our lovely, we're going to just mix through a lovely bit of, this is one of my favorite ingredients. Now a lot of people say you use a lot of sweet chili, but it's one of my favorite ingredients. So sweet chili in there, mix that around. So we have the curry powder, we have the lovely peppers in there, we have the red onion, you know, we have the lovely sweet chili, the curry, you know, all them flavors combined together. Oh my God, I'm actually starving here. I hope you are too at home. Okay, so here we go. So in you go with your spoon, mix around. That's your mix made. Now that will last in the fridge up to 5 days cooked, okay? You can freeze it down as well, that's no problem. Okay, so we're gonna roll up our spring rolls. So our pastry is quite, it's durable, like it's easy to work with. You can be quite rough with it as well. And then we're going to double wrap them. Okay, so the little tip for you is just place your mix, place it diagonally, place your mix in there. Now don't use too much, so use about 4 tablespoons of mix in there. And then we're going to wrap them up nicely. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to start here, push it in, and then we're going to bring either side in like so. Wrap it up. So don't be afraid of it busting. If it busts in this one, you can wrap it again with your second sheet. So we always double wrap them because it also helps to keep them together in when you're frying them as well. So here we go. And then we're going to wrap them up nicely. Okay, so have I any questions? None? Everyone's gone awfully quiet, haven't you? Okay, so here we go. Wrap them up. And then nice and tightly. Now you don't be afraid to be rough with it. And then we're going to get a lovely bit of beaten egg there and just egg wash the end. Okay, so like any good cooking show at all, here's some I've made earlier, okay? Okay, so they're made earlier, and what we're going to do is we're going to place them away from ourselves into the oil. Now be careful, this is quite hot. Into the oil there. And they're going to fry off nicely, so we'll add in this one here as well. Okay, so they won't take long at all. In the meantime, while they're frying off, oh, the smells actually is so good. So, give that a little wipe. And then in here, we're going to serve a lovely little salsa with it. So what I've done is I've segmented oranges. So the segmented orange, all you're going to do is you're going to peel all the skin off with a serrated edge knife. So in you go there. You're going to run your knife along. Any of the skin and the white part has to come off as well.
all that there. So just look at your spring rolls. Don't forget to turn them every now and again. See that lovely golden colour on there? That's exactly what you want. Turn them around. Again, they will take a lot longer in the oven. So if you're cooking them in the oven, they will take up to about 20 minutes to crisp up. So doing them in a flash fry and draining them then after is quite useful as well. So taking all the skin off your orange, and then to segment, basically what we're doing is we're getting our knife and running it along the little sections there. So in you go there, one side, out the other, and you have lovely little segments of orange. So they're quite simple, quite easy, really nice to do. And as well, I did a recipe last year in my little Christmas cookery section with the craft butchers, which went into all the shops. And it was lovely. It was like a basil and orange cocktail. Okay, so it went down really well. And to be honest with you, it was absolutely amazing. I love it myself. I do make it on a regular basis, and it goes down so well at home as well. Oh, here we go. With your basil, just a small little bunch, and this is called a chiffonade. Okay, so you roll it up into a little bunch, and then just slice it nice and thinly, and in you go there. Into your little bits of orange, and that's your little salsa done. So that's quite simple to do. We're just going to serve this up then. Okay, so I'm going to pick this one here. The best thing about this dish for you at home is that you get to eat the outer pieces here. So that part there is for me. Okay, and then we're going to slice at that at an angle, just like that. Okay, and then we're going to serve that then just in our little dish there. So we have 3 little bits. Sit it up. And then our lovely bit of salsa then to go with that. So you have your lovely bit of orange and basil salsa. Don't be afraid with that. And that goes in and around there as well. So that's your lovely little first dish. So I'm just going to turn that around. And it's very simple done. And then, so all of these ones here. So guys, so that's my little first dish there. It's my lovely little spring rolls done with a lovely orange and basil salsa. Absolutely wonderful, nice, fresh, vibrant, light, and absolutely wonderful. So I hope you enjoy that one at home. Thank you. So there we go. Oh. Here we go, okay? So being in Louis' shop, he's shown me around the shop today. He's shown me that he buys all his pork locally. And absolutely fabulous. He was butchering this actually in the shop today for me. He was showing it to the television cameras as well, and he did an absolute wonderful job on it. So it's absolutely beautiful. It's going to be a lovely bit of crackling on there as well, which is exactly what you're looking for. So we have the skin on, he's scored for me, and we have a bit of the bone in there as well. So it works really good. We're going to get a bit of salt on there. So we season that up nicely with some salt. We turn it around as well, and we season the other side. So it's important that you season both sides of the pork there before you cook it. So season that well with salt. Again, we're going to add in some rosemary in there as well. So you get your rosemary again, and you just pull at that. And this takes long, slow cooking. So if you don't have the time, by the way, you can use the loin of pork for yourself at home, and it'll cook out in about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So this one here will take about 3 hours to cook in the oven at a nice low temperature. So we're going to leave that in, okay? So 3 hours later, okay? You have your lovely little bits of pulled pieces of pork. So what I've done is I've just pulled them into shreds when it cooled down, and they're going to actually be so good. So for you at home, that's your pulled pork. We're going to take that to the next level, okay? So the next level being a lovely frying pan on here, and then we're going to add a little bit of the camelina oil. So the camelina oil is quite good. It's good for psoriasis, eczema. It's rich in 3, 6, and 9 omega, and as well it has a high burn rate. So take your pork to the next level. Have you had crispy duck before? Yeah, so it's quite similar to it. Add in your salt in there, so season it again, a little touch of it, and then we're going to crisp that up, so nice and slowly on the pan there, on sort of a high heat. Okay, so what goes well with pulled pork? Can anyone tell me? Anyone here? So a lovely barbecue sauce, isn't it? So we're going to do a nice little barbecue sauce to go with that. Can anyone tell me what goes into barbecue sauce? Sugar, yeah, correct. Tomatoes. You do. You can put balsamic into it. That's correct. That's correct. So I have one here with a few ingredients, and I'm going to show you quite quickly how to make it. So here we go again. So just a few ingredients here. We're going to add in our onion as the base. So any sauce at all you're making, onion is the base flavor along with garlic. We're going to slice the onion. So we're going to use half of it. Again, what I'll say to you is the outer layer of the onion, remove that because it's quite tough and chewy. And then we'll just use the inner part. Okay, so with slicing, just take your time and watch your fingers as well while you're slicing up your onion. So we're running it along the root there. Into this saucepan here, we have a lovely bit of oil. So again, there we go. So you can add chili in, yeah, definitely. You can definitely add it in. We're going to add in our onion here to the frying pan, and we're going to let that sweat down. Now we're going to use a clove of garlic in there, and I've quite stressed this a lot. There's a green part that goes in the clove of garlic that causes a cramp in your stomach. So that green part there, remove that. It actually is the main reason why any sauce you have at all will sit in your stomach and cause you to feel a bit unwell after eating. So remove that little part there, and then take the skin off. So you'll see in the center there, you have that little green stem as such. Just remove that, okay? There we go. And then we're going to slice that up, just like that. And then we're going to add that into our onions. In you go there. Okay. Now, what we're going to add into that then is some brown sugar. Okay, so give that a little swirl around. In goes your brown sugar in there. And then we're going to let that caramelize. So if you added in butter into that, remove the onions and garlic, it's actually quite wonderful over some toffee bananas. It's good with some ice cream there as well. It's nice as a dessert. So remember, you can remove the savouriness of it by just removing the onions and the garlic. So that's in there. We have a lovely bit of smoked paprika. Okay, so it's quite a smoky flavour. A lovely sort of tingle off it or tang off it as well. So that goes in there. In goes your smoked paprika. We're going to swirl that around. So you notice now that it's starting to like caramelize and nearly burn in there. That's exactly what you want, by the way, okay? So you're not going wrong at all. We're going to add in some tomato ketchup to that, okay? So a good wallop of tomato ketchup in there. And then we're going to add in some Worcester sauce. So how do you pronounce it? So some people go Worcestershire or Worcester. Or there's so many different ways, isn't there? So in you go there with your Worcester. Okay, and then we give that a good stir around. So that's your sauce done. Good and easy to do. And then what we're going to do then is we're going to just turn our pork. So you see the lovely little crispy bits in there. Look at that, can you hear it? It's nearly like crisping in front of you. So that's exactly what you want. Them lovely little crispy bits are lovely little bits of flavour and everything. We're going to add that into our sauce now. So get your pan. Tip that in there, and oh my god, I am actually starving here now. So just lose your pan there, and then we're going to mix that around. Okay, so here you go. Okay, we have 2 baps here, and we're going to have 2 lucky guests to come up and try this, please God. So here we go. So just slice through, take your time, watch your fingers. Okay, and then we'll do 2 of them. So, here we go. And then we're going to serve up this here. Okay. So in you go there with your pulled pork, your sauce, your lovely crispy bits, the smell here, the lovely smokiness of the barbecue, the lovely sort of tanginess of the Worcester. You know, my tummy is rumbling, by the way. Okay, so in you go there. And then to serve with that then, we have a lovely bit of grated carrot over top. So this adds like a lovely crunch to it, I suppose. So we'll just give that a little tap. Okay, so what we're going to do then is we're going to serve over a grated carrot. So if you're using this, you can wash your carrot. It doesn't have to be peeled. And just over top, a little bit of grated carrot there. Okay. And then we have a lovely bit of just rocket and mixed leaves of salad to serve with that. So there we go. And then in you go there Just like that. Okay. And then, is anyone here hungry? So then put your little baps aside. Okay. And then that's your lovely little pulled pork done with your lovely smoky barbecue sauce. Isn't that absolutely beautiful, isn't it? So there we go. So for you at home, I don't know if you can smell that at home, but I'd be jealous if I were you. So
That's about it for tonight. Remember, I'm back again next week at the same time from my kitchen in Bonboy, County Cavan, and Associated Craft Butchers of Ireland. For all of tonight's recipes, visit www.chefadrian.ie, or you can find me on Facebook and Twitter. Till next time, happy cooking.